Hey, Stoney here with another game of Mechabellum. And this game is about Sparty overcoming a build that has haunted him for a very long time. So let's jump right into it. At the bottom here, I am playing as a Typhoon specialist, and I'm up against my friend Sparty, playing as a supply specialist. I started off with Stonecrawlers and Fangs, and he has Tarantulas and Ballers. Now, in this game, whenever I see Tarantula in the back of my head, I go, there might be an opportunity to play a hacker. So in order to make that happen, I've decided to have my units a little bit closer to the front line here. I am very much enjoying the Stonecrawler position right here above like the big H or the big square sometimes in the map. It gives you a lot of coverage into your opponent's board, allow you to play aggressively. And also, later on, if you want to build like a death ball with hacker and shield, or even typhoons, these guys can cover a lot of ground. And finally, when your Stonecrawler is on the line like this, you can hit launcher overload anytime and essentially doubling their effectiveness at virtually no downside, because most of your units are going to be ahead of the Stonecrawler anyways. Alright, to start off, we got lots of crawlers running around, so I didn't have a lot of units here. And because of that, Sparty is going to win round one. Okay, that's all right. Gonna get to round two. Arc lights are excellent. I think Mustangs are good as well. I prefer Mustangs. If I'm already planning on going hackers, I think Mustangs is a great option. And for Sparty, I mean, he can go either Steel Ball or Mustangs. I think Mustangs are good for him as well. Steel Balls right now just doesn't have a lot of units. Steel Ball is mostly just a hedge against the Rhino. But yeah, Mustang is way more flexible. Alright, I got my squad of Mustangs, and I also bought a pair of Wasps. Then they're going to go straight to the tower. Mustangs is being placed in a very centralized location, so the idea is that when these two crawlers do engage, the Mustangs will split, helping both of my fan squads on the side. Okay, good placement of this fence right there in the middle is distracting the Stonecrawlers, so they're not actually getting their missiles through to the Tarantulas. Alright, the Mustangs are engaging, but they're engaging a little bit too early. The Wasp was almost at the tower, but not quite. Okay, finally get to the tower, able to bring down a Tarantula, but not quite enough to clear up the rest of the board. Alright, round three. I took redeployment and Sparty took underground. Round three is also the round for Typhoons, so I get to put Typhoons down. Typhoon is sort of the anti-Mustang in this sort of hacker composition. So with Mustangs, you want them to stay in the back and shoot and give shield to the hackers. Whereas if you have Typhoons, you want the hot Typhoons to be at the front and you can take range on the hackers first. Alright, first hacker went down and is already locked onto a Tarantula. Very good. Alright, the Typhoon is kind of getting stuck here on this Tarantula, which means it's not doing its job as chaff clear. Alright, the Tarantula is dead. However, these level 2 Mustangs, they're doing a lot of damage here to the Typhoon. Okay, just barely not having enough to win this round here. Alright, round three. Ion Blast is great, but we both decided to take Greed or Super Supply. We both expected this game to go on a little bit longer. Second hacker went down, and his shield went down. And this is the reason we want to keep some Stonecrawlers, just because they're excellent at breaking the shield. Now, my right-hand side is wide open, and I'm not really planning on fixing it anytime soon. So I've actually started moving units over to the left-hand side. So the Mustang is now joining the main army. The right-hand side is more of a stalling tactic. I put down a single missile here, hoping to catch this Mustang and the crawler. And with Sparty, is just continuing chaffing. So what is he trying to do? Now, the problem with Hacker is that once you let them scale, gain a few levels, and you're still not out of the tarantulas, you're going to have a very bad time. Now, luckily for Sparty, there's only 3 tarantulas for my hackers to catch. And my hacker does not run multi-hack, which means it's not going to be great into small units. That missile actually landed. I don't know if you saw that. It caught the entire squad of Mustangs, which I was pretty proud of. Alright, it is happening. Both tarantulas are mine, and we're going to move over. We're probably going to get that level 2 tarantula as well. We'll see. Yeah, with the tower down, we're definitely going to get that level 2 tarantula. So a huge round here for me. Not only I get the benefit of my units, and also Sparty's units adding to the damage tally. Enhancement modules offered. I think this is a must-take at this stage of the game. If anything, allows you to do the money trick, right? So both of us are doing it. We're leveling up the units we don't really want, and we're selling them. Ooh, we have melting point on the board. Alright, tower gets upgraded. We're fully committing into Typhoon. So with Mech Rage, we actually do quite a lot of clear at the front. But the melting point is quite dangerous. There's right now nothing in front of this hacker, which means the melting point can very well just lock onto it. Alright, another hacker goes down. And pair with another Typhoon. And make sure you line them up to the units that you want to target. Yep, melting point lock onto the hacker right away, but because he only locked onto the shield, it wasn't able to continue his attack into the hacker. That could be easily fixed by just taking range next turn. But next turn I won't be able to, I won't be allowing him to lock onto my hacker because I'll probably have some crawlers in front. Alright, level 2 Tarantula being extra annoying. But we have hackers on the melting point. And once you get the melting point, which you're going to swing over. Nice, nice. Ooh, a huge amount of damage here. Underground is offered once again. EM is offered. EM is pretty good because I have hacker shield, so you can just drop in between them. I took underground. Both of us took underground just to create a little bit more chaos on both sides. Hackers gets leveled. So hacker's shield is about half the value of a fort. So at level 2, you actually have like a fort shield, which is nice. Replicate gets added, very sneaky. To go with the underground, of course. I took drill, anticipating a replicate shenanigan. I mean, Sparty and I, we play so many games together. At this point, we can pretty much read each other's board effortlessly. So it's very rare that we have a very brand new strategy being developed. I'm always very excited about that. This replicate, not replicate, this underground is going to cause quite a bit of problems, and I've decided to take double replicate and drill because I expected Sparty to be very sneaky here, and I wanted to at least be one up against him. All right, no range on the melting point, but instead it's going to be electromag just to pop the shield nice and early, and also no range on the Mustangs, but instead it's going to be AP bullets for that 50% damage. Interesting. Neither of these are conventional plays. Usually you'll take range, right, so you can reach your unit a little bit faster without having to move. And then for your Mustangs, usually you just want to take also range so that you don't die when you're trying to push down your units. All right, so the melting point Mustang combo is actually working on the side. My Typhoons are simply not strong enough to get everything done. Now, I do have some level 2 Stormcallers, and they do pack a punch. So hopefully, the Stormcallers themselves can actually seal the deal here, and indeed they can. Very nice. And that should bring Sparty down to dangerously low. Oh, 367. Okay. I just need to have a little bit more to push him over the edge. Triple Sledgehammers is being offered. Sledgehammers are fantastic into melting point. For my opponent here, I think he might... Okay, Sandworm. Sandworm is not bad into hackers because... well, first of all, your hacker doesn't charge up like a melting point. So he always hacks at a constant interval. And whenever the Sandworm goes under, your hacker essentially loses all of that charge, which is kind of sad. All right, we have a hacker. No, we have a Sandworm flank with underground that was off cooldown. The melting point's got levels. And even more melting point being added. So now it's just a straight up melting point Mustang comp. Sparty has sold every single one of his tarantulas, and those were the units I was really going after, but I have already committed into hackers, so it's a little more difficult for me to get out of it. The bigger problem though is that these Mustangs have grown to level 3 and level 2s, which means in order for me to contest it without using Typhoons is a bit more difficult. I do have Sledgehammers, so I wonder if that's something I can use later on if I don't already end the game right here now. All right, range is finally taken for the Mustangs. All right, let's keep an eye on the side here because the Sandworm is coming. And the Sandworm is going to get a very good tower. All right, hackers are hacking. But so far, we're just getting onto small units like the Mustangs. Finally getting onto a big melter. The Sandworm is dangerously close to a tower. Can I get this melter? Can I get this melter? No, I cannot get this melter. Gets shut down with range. And now we'll have to start all over again. That was super sad. I could have had that melter, and that melter would have stopped a lot of the aggression on that side. And again, with the EM Barrage, not able to secure a melter with the hackers. All right. I need an answer against these Mustangs. They are doing so much work. And I also need an answer back here against the Sandworm. I think the Sandworm is easier to answer. You get a crawler and then you get some steel balls. And if you want, you can also put a hacker down just so that you can get the Sandworm for later. Mustangs continue to level, now level 4. And we're also getting melting points with range and energy diffraction. So multi-beam melters. Multi-beam is deadly into my board. One, the melter is still outrange or almost outrange melting point. What am I saying? The melter is almost outrange the hackers. The hackers just slightly ahead of them. But the melting point outranges everything else. So the sledgies, the Typhoons, which means he has a very convenient way of just deleting my front line here. The Mustangs are going to help with these smaller units like the crawlers and fangs, and that just leaves hackers, and hackers can't really do anything in 2 rows of Mustangs, which means I will need to have something to answer the Mustangs when all of my front line disappeared, and that's going to be Stormcrawlers, I think. And you remember earlier I said I love the positioning on Stormcrawlers at a front? Well, one of the reasons for that is you get to take launcher overload, and I think that's in the plans in the future. Alright, multi-beam are working, and all of a sudden my tank, which I thought was a great idea into the melting point, are not so great anymore. Multi-beam are also locking onto my Typhoons, which means my chaff clear is disappearing, and that just means my hackers don't really have a good target. It's been hacking crawlers and singular Mustangs for the entire game. Not how you want the hackers to be. A huge round here for Sparty. Alright, we got steel balls. Steel balls, they died too quickly to multi-melter. I think I just wanted to take the big rhino and sell it and then get something else. Alright. Got the rhino, sold it, and putting down a whole lot of storm callers. Sparty decided to get boats, punishing me for my lack of anti-air. Right now, my only anti-air are coming in from these typhoons, and these typhoons don't exactly last till the end of the game. I was anticipating overlords, which is why I started putting down AM devices. I'm hoping that with enough AM devices, I can protect my entire army from these boats, because I don't expect them to put too many boats. And outside of that, there's really not much I can do. Alright, Stonecrawler's doing Stonecrawler things. They're certainly helping out with a bit of chaff clear, but there are just so many shields, and I'm unable to break free, and the multi-melter just deleting everything at the front here. I even took EM on the Stonecrawlers just to make sure that the multi-melter don't get to be multi-melter for too long. I've also taken EM on the hackers. One interesting doodad is that when you have EM on the hackers, your hacker beam actually looks extra fancy. So not only you get the purple beam, you also get like a blue hue. So it's got lightning beam. If you see here, I'm going to pause this the next time. Stop hacking crawlers. Hack something big. I don't think this hacker is going to survive long enough for the demonstration, but yeah, that is going to be game. So a very interesting game here with Sparty, and very good decision making. He knows that hackers completely counters the tarantulas at the front. So instead of putting things at the front, he started to build things in the back, and then eventually getting the melting point, which is really good, into my front line. So kudos to him, and I look forward to our next one. If you enjoyed this video, here is another game for you, and I will see you on the next one.
Prepare your tactics. Mechabellum's calling. Deploy your fortress. The battlefield's alive with swarms.